Chubstep.
Jrad. Cacao.
Creating the oil of judgment.
Steed.
Chubstep.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the king of the jungle.
You're supposed to back me up and go get me juice boxes when I tell you. Now go get me a juice box. You know who you're talking to. I'm talking to the juice box guy. You're crazy. I'm not crazy. I'm just thirsty. Why don't you go to hell? No, you go to hell. While you're there, why don't you grab me a juice box?
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
And the show started.
Hey.
Welcome.
Yo,
Special guest, Lil Stevie in the house.
Hey-o.
delighted to be here. Delighted to be back. Been a long time.
I was gonna say, I was looking. It was June of 2021 the last time we were on the show.
Woo.
Oh, mama.
Yeah,
Not,
I think this
not
is
a
your
lot going on.
Your sixth or seventh
out
time.
in LA, I guess.
Been a couple times. I live in New York.
Either way,
The coastal elites, yeah, same shit.
Yeah, nice. Well, originally, Stevie, you reached out because you said you had some hot takes on hot dogs. Because we did kind of a hot dog themed episode for Chubstep 400.
Yeah,
And-
which was delightful, by the way.
Thank you.
What
Thank you.
a great episode.
It was a very interesting experience being in a live hot dog shop. People are very confused as they're walking in, and there's a couple guys sitting with a laptop and microphones in front of them.
Yeah,
it's hot dog talk. People got to get used to it. It's happening. You can't stop it.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So I developed this a while ago, and I don't have a lot of people who care about the topic of hot dogs. I ranked all of the toppings on a Chicago dog.
Okay.
And here's my overall take on the Chicago dog. And I'd love feedback from the hometown boys. I think Chicago has great hot dogs. Probably, maybe the best hot dog city in the country. I think that's certainly fair. I think the Chicago dog is so fucking stupid. Like, there's so much on it. Like, no hot dog needs like 7 or 8 toppings.
Yeah.
You gotta get a little messy.
I agree. Like, just for my context, I'm pretty basic. I like bacon, cheese, and one thing I saw from the Chicago dog, I'll throw some pickles on there too.
Okay.
Because there's some great innovations on this hot dog, and then some stuff I don't agree with personally.
Okay.
So what do you think? You want me to run through my list?
First, let's talk about your ideal hot dog. You said bacon, cheese, and pickles.
Yes, like melted. Well, I think I prefer melted cheese, but I don't mind shredded cheese either.
The pickle cheese bacon combo seems
never tried that.
Pickles is silly. That's just a personal preference. I'm not going to sit here and say that's the premium hot dog. I think the premium hot dog is bacon and cheese though. And if you want to get a little messy, throw some chili on there as well. I like chili dogs. Not something I can do a lot.
Yes.
Because it is insane, but I do like a chili dog.
I would agree with that. I think there's nothing wrong with the chili dog. I like chili.
I'm actually anti-chili dog.
Okay.
No variety. It's lazy to me.
Well, you could have different types of chilies.
It's just lazy to me. It's like, just get this thing and put it on this other thing. Why don't we put chili on pizza? Why don't we just put chili on a pie? Chili pie.
You can put chili on a lot of things. Nachos, French fries.
Yeah, I do like
omelets.
Nacho chili.
Yeah, you could put on omelets.
Good omelet. Yeah, I don't like it on the dog though.
Okay, bad take. All right, but let's go through these ingredients, Stevie. So go one by one. What's this ranking highest to lowest?
Yeah, we're gonna go best to worst. So I think it makes it more fun. Number one, not even an actual ingredient on a hot dog. It's the dismissal of ketchup. Is huge dub for Chicago. Nice. I personally think ketchup is a dipping condiment. I don't think it really belongs on top of anything. I think it's made for dipping potatoes. I understand. And Jared, I did hear your barbecue argument, a fair take. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm not on the Chicago high horse where people who put ketchup on hot dogs are morons, but I think it's a silly hot dog condiment. This will blow you guys' minds. If I go to a sporting event and I get a hot dog, I raw dog that bad boy. I don't want hot ketchup or mustard on there.
Yeah, same.
Hell yeah.
Because of the
It's
implication.
the way to do it, especially because you're in the stadium. You can't be like going to that little bar on the side, messing around with all the germs and everything. It's gross.
And the onion roller.
The what?
Gotta spin the thing that the onions start coming out. You ever done that?
No.
You gotta spin this little wheel that like onions start shooting out of it.
Yeah, if I ever got on that, I'd just spin it until there was a pile of onions on the ground.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so your favorite is the actually not ingredients, the lack of ingredients. And I do agree with it. It seems kind of it's almost ketchup is like a child's flavor.
I agree, but I'm a big advocate of ketchup as a dip for potatoes. You know, it's basic, it's simple. There are better dips, but it's always available.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's what it's intended for.
Yeah.
Not this.
Agreed.
So win for the shower dog. Number 2, so the actual best ingredient, I think the bun, the poppy seed bun, elite. It's one thing that I, after leaving Milwaukee, even though it's not Chicago, rarely see anymore, which is a bummer. Because if I'd make hot dogs in college, I would buy the poppy seed buns. It's the best. As far as like, if you're not going to get fancy with the bun, hard to beat.
Yeah.
Do they sell them other places?
I don't really see this at
Okay.
grocery stores. I'm sure if I like, because obviously most stores don't have a big selection of hot dog buns.
Yeah.
So I rarely ever see a poppy seed bun.
Okay.
Which is a bummer. I love it.
Yeah, that is a bummer. I agree. It's people don't ever. I would say if I'm even listing out the ingredients, I wouldn't even think to put the bun on there, but it is such a staple of that dog. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, because you guys are born and bred on it. You don't realize that's like
that's
a true game changer.
Got poppy seed in my blood.
I don't know what other people put on their buns if they don't do poppy seed.
It kind of sucks. I don't mind. Like if you get a good like split down the middle, toasted like New England style bun, it's good, but poppy seed's better.
The problem though with poppy seed, Stevie, is the getting in your teeth. The little poppy seeds get in teeth a lot. So avoid it on dates, maybe.
That's fair. I see them on rolls all the time around here too. So you know they have them.
Yeah.
But they just don't put them on hot dog buns.
Yeah.
Number 3, I mean, this is personal preference, as I previously stated, the pickle spear.
Yeah.
I'm just a huge pickle fan. I think that is I stand by my point. It's another ridiculously silly topping to go on a hot dog, but this one works to me.
Yeah,
I like it. They're the same shape.
Yeah. No, it's true. It is. I put pickle spears on my hot dogs now. That's like the one thing I took. Yeah. The bun if I had it, but I love that. And number 4,
well, real quick, they're almost as thick as the dog, which is sometimes a problem. It makes you have to open up your mouth a lot wider. The length is a little like the width, the girth, if you will, is
it's very girthy.
I agree. If you're making your own, I would recommend trying chips. They're a little easier to spot. Pickle chips, obviously.
Yeah. I like the bread and butter pickle chips.
You know, I'm not. I used to be very staunchly against bread and butter pickles, but I went to, I guess, friends of the show, Jeff Root's old restaurant, the Bristol.
Yes.
And they gave me bread and butter pickles after the meal, and Jeff hands it to me because he knows I hate bread and butter, and he's like, here you go, you fucking asshole. Eat these bread and butter pickles. And they actually were really good. I went back for seconds, and I rarely do. I'm a sour guy. But it opened my mind a little bit. So
there you go.
And I don't hate those anymore.
Good. Yeah, Jeff's been on the show before.
Love that. Love that. I had to have listened to him. If I didn't, send me the episode number.
Okay.
All right, number 4, also not really ingredient, but a hot dog itself. And I don't remember the owner of Flub-a-Dub Chub, but he stressed the importance of the Vienna beef hot dog, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm also personally, and I'm not against this. I'm more of I don't really love the all beef hot dogs. I'm more of like, I want some pork in there.
Yeah.
I think if you go to the grocery store and buy the like German or like that type of European style, like thicker hot dogs, those are my favorites of making them my own. But all beef are definitely less variance, more consistent. I think Vienna beef is pretty much the best of the best with all beef.
Yeah, I would like to do a side by side because in my mind I agree with you, Steve, but I'd like to do a side by side of just raw dog in it, but a few different ones and just kind of see like, okay, yeah, that is actually what I think.
I could buy a bunch of hot dogs.
All right, let's do it.
I can make that happen.
Okay.
Yeah, because you might not even notice. But then if I'm sitting between like a ballpark Frank, which I do like, or a Vienna beef, all beef, like I'm probably going to Vienna beef. But if I can get a little higher grade pork hot dog, or I guess it's not even always all pork. Like,
Yeah,
you don't really you just don't want to read the ingredients. that are in there,
exactly.
'cause-
Yeah. Yes. Agreed.
Yeah. But yeah, great dog. Number 5, I have onions here. I'm not a huge onion guy on hot dogs, but I do like onions, and I do like them on hot dogs.
Mhm.
So this is kind of the middle of the road for me. I think
Okay.
it's a classic hot dog condiment, not something silly. It works. It's on pretty much, I mean, it's on New York style dogs, right? It's on Detroit
Yeah.
style dogs. It's on almost every like
Yeah.
style of hot dog.
Yeah,
Just a matter of how it's cooked a lot of times. Like
Mhm.
the
that-
Chicago dog
that's the
is
key with
raw.
the onion. Mhm.
Yeah, the raw onion. Sometimes, yes, New York, they're more stewed and cooked for a while. Be thrown on there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize there was this many ingredients.
That's what I'm saying. There's so many fucking
He's
ingredients.
he's like halfway right now.
I think I have 4 more.
Okay.
And let me know if any of these aren't actually on.
No, so far
uh,
you're good. I think you're good
dogs.
so far.
And I didn't rank celery salt. I guess there's an extra ingredient. I just didn't
Yeah.
have that on my list for some reason.
You can put that at the end.
Yeah, it's a spice. Like, that's fine. Put it.
Just
I
throw
guess
it in
put
here.
it. Just throw it after onions. I don't really have an opinion on it. I have an opinion on everything else.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So then I have mustard. As you could guess
Yeah.
from the beginning of the show, I'm not a mustard guy in general, but I
Mhm.
understand it as a classic sausage topping. The flavors
Yeah.
do blend. It's not my cup of tea, but I'm not going to knock it because other people like it.
Makes sense.
Not
Mhm.
like ketchup. I have less of a take on mustard than ketchup.
Yeah.
I'll allow it here. Reasonable condiment. And I think it is a dub to not put both because I don't really understand putting both.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's like pick one.
Yeah.
Pick one
agreed.
sauce. You can't double sauce.
It is bad for stains though. Mustard on the shirt. I feel like it just happens. The problem with the Chicago dog as you're going through this, when you have that many ingredients, things can fall off easy.
Yeah, one's coming
And
off.
now that you've put this yellow dyed substance, in this thing with all these things falling off, it just can get on clothes pretty easy. That is the problem with the mustard.
So you want to drop the. You would drop the mustard, Jared.
I don't know. I'm not going to change it, but I get it.
And like, if you get a Chicago dog to bring them home, are they soggy when you get home, like the buns?
What do you mean, bring them home?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you
You
pick
eat them
up.
in an alleyway or a gutter.
Yeah, they definitely can be. I've actually been to places where I've actually stopped ordering them from some local places because sometimes they already come out and they're already too soggy.
Oh,
But I think that is just something to do with more the way they're cooking it than
they pre-make them. They
Yeah,
must pre-make them.
just like anytime you get steam something and then when you wrap it, it could automatically get soggy. So yeah, it does happen, but not all the time.
Gotcha. All right. Well, number 7, this I'm sure this will be controversial. I feel like this is the most iconic of the toppings. It's a sport pepper. I
Mm.
think so. Like, in theory, I like the sport pepper. Like, the first bite of the sport pepper is great, but like then you eat one of them and then there's usually like 3 of them on there, right? And like
Yeah.
every time I've had a Chicago dog, I'm picking
Yeah.
the third one up. I'm like, there's too many sport peppers on here. It's too potent of a flavor for like a hot dog. I think it's a good option, but too much. It's just like the whole dog. It's just too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like the stems. I get a lot where the stems on.
Yeah, I got to get rid of those stuff.
And I got it like I ordered food so I didn't have to make food. And now you want me to prepare my own pepper that's already on
not
there
okay.
in the mix. It's a mess.
Yeah, my problem, Stevie, is that sometimes you bite into it and then like you can't fully break it as you're
Mhm.
biting through it, so then it like gets stuck in your mouth as you're pulling it out.
Ugh.
That is my problem with it, but I like the kind of I kind of like a little spicy thing, and those are usually not too spicy. I kind of like the pickly spicy flavor of that, but I get it.
Yeah. And it's like, I get it on the dog. If it was on the side, maybe you're going back and forth, but it adds too much for me. But it's not,
get it.
I'm not really like I guess I'm kind of against it on a hot dog, but I'm not against it in principle.
Well, where else are you ever going to put it? Like, where else does a sport pepper?
Right,
It was
yeah, it's a good
invented.
point.
I mean, where else? I've never seen it.
It was
anywhere
invented
else.
for a hot dog.
I don't think I've
Scientists.
seen one outside of Chicago in my entire
That's a
life.
good point.
It goes in
That's a good
Jrad
point.
and era.
A good point.
Yeah.
I don't even know what jardinera like. That I can't define
Another
it, but I put it
Chicago
on
thing,
stuff
though.
sometimes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're almost done. Number 8, I have relish. This is on a Chicago dog, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's like I don't mind relish being on a hot dog. Like, I'm not a huge relish guy because it's more of the sweeter side of pickles and spicy or the sour.
Yeah.
But you already have a fucking pickle on here.
Yeah. Pickle.
doing?
Yeah. Belt and
Well,
suspenders,
Do
as
we
they would
need
say.
both?
Yeah.
Now I'm starting to disagree with you on some of these rankings.
I want disagreement.
Relish should be high.
But do you need both?
Yeah, you need both because you get the spice and the sweet all
That's
in
a good
one.
point. Okay.
They mix it.
Yeah.
It gets crazy in there, just
I
like
think-
the turbulent streets of Chicago.
Yeah, I think what this, I know what you're saying, Stevie. I think what this is trying to do is literally like hit every single flavor that you could get. It's got to have like the little bit of spicy with the sport pepper, pickly, sour, sweet, salty with the celery salt on there, whatever poppy seed is, opium, and then a beef, flavor, and then then you're gonna get to your last one here.
Yeah. So I stand by this is the dumbest hot dog ingredient of all time. Is the tomato slice. And it takes away from the victory of not having ketchup by throwing a fucking tomato on here.
That's true. That's true.
You die on the hill of not having ketchup. That's, I would say, arguably the biggest staple of Chicago hot dogs is the absence of ketchup. But you throw tomato slices on here, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm guessing most hot dog stands aren't growing tomatoes off the vine. Like these tomatoes have probably been sitting around for a while. And the last time I was in Chicago, I got a couple Chicago dogs to really give it a chance. And like the tomatoes were never good.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just like, and it doesn't need to be on the hot dog. I think like
that might push it over the size limit.
Yeah, right. It's the whole thing. It's too much. There's too much here. We just ranked like 10 ingredients.
That isn't saying that's all on one hot dog when you're laying it out that way. My problem is that I'm always the guy at a restaurant that orders the sandwich with the most things on it. So that like the Chicago dog just falls right into that category of like, just, throw literally every single ingredient you could find on something and I'll eat it. Does that always mean it's the best? No, it doesn't. It just means that's like where just my mind goes. And so for me, I've always just been like, that's, it's got everything. But is it too much? Like, could you get rid of a few of those ingredients and it be just as good? What I would like to do now, other than trying Steed's hot dogs, is to try a few like I want one with has everything, one missing this, one missing this. Try the kind of different like, this is actually just as good without the tomato or without the sport pepper, things like that, right? It doesn't need this both, but I see the tomato is ridiculous. When you have the tomato and the full pickle, the tomickle, that's what I call it. That's a Chicago thing.
And the sport peppers.
That's where you've got this thing sitting all on top of this dog. And it is a lot. It's hard for me to argue that the tomato is the worst ingredient on there. Because I think I could do without it. You're trying to basically put like a lot of stuff that'd be maybe on like a hamburger onto a hot dog, but even a hamburger you would never put like double of both relish and pickle.
Mm-hmm. And like, listen, like I think I could hear arguments for every other condiment that I dissed in this whole thing. I don't get the tomato, and I think it's like takes away a lot from it. And again, Chicago has great hot dogs. It's just this dog I think is silly.
You're right about the tomato. Tomato's the biggest difference between like a fresh one and a not fresh one, a ripe one. You can really tell the difference. And these little stands are not going to be getting the vine ripe tomatoes like you're saying. So it's going to be shitty tomatoes. They're going to be grainy or mealy or whatever, and it's not going to be good.
Yeah, and I think too, like people will like tout the New York hot dog. As a New York homer, like Chicago has better hot dogs. Like if you get a New York, like if you want a true New York hot dog, like you're going to like a little like we call them like Papaya King. They're usually called. You're getting like $1.50 hot dog. Mm-hmm. They're usually pretty good.
For $1.50, oh yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's more like New York dollar slice for me compared to hot dogs, and maybe that's just like woefully ignorant if there's other New Yorkers yelling at me. But it's like you get them, they're cheap. They're one of the few cheap things in New York, and they're pretty good. Yeah. You're never gonna like. I don't think New York has like the best hot dogs on earth. I'm sure some places have like a good one, but like. Whereas with pizza, like you can get dollar slice and it's punching way out of its dollar price range weight class. Yeah. And then you could also go somewhere else and get like genuinely incredible pizza, which I don't know, like it's probably few and far between hot dog wise.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's you bring up all good points. It's hard. I know you wanted like a debate on some of these.
I didn't need a debate because I'm right. But...
Yeah. I think I'm a little bit more in favor of the sport pepper would be my only thing. And I would probably put the pickle spear a little lower only because I would probably prefer the relish over the pickle spear just because of the size. As I mentioned in the Chub 400, I hurt myself eating too many Chicago style hot dogs because of the amount that I had to open up my mouth. It was a tragic injury because I opened up my mouth too wide to open up to eat these hot dogs. And so I would prefer a hot dog I could fit into my mouth easier.
Yeah. It's, and like, I'm more like, I guess sandwiches, sometimes I will load them up, but like pizza, I'm a pretty like 1-2 topping at most guy. Like in hot dogs, I'm the same way. You know, I could do a couple. I don't need 8. I mean, that's a little much.
Our record is like 22.
Toppings on a hot dog.
So Stevie, I will say there's a place called Wiener Circle, kind of a famous place in Chicago. They also add the cheddar cheese if you also want on the Chicago dog. So even add one more ingredient on that.
But that'd be a welcome addition to me.
It's good. I actually prefer that. Yeah.
Replace the tomatoes with the cheddar cheese. Hot dog goes up like 10 notches.
There you go. Little Stevie dog.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. So thank you for that. Also, what's with the Glizzy name? When did that start? The hot dogs we call Glizzy.
I like that, like really gained traction the last like a year or two, right? Like I feel like I've heard that in passing, but now it's like the term.
Had never heard that term before. Yeah, I would say like 2 years ago, and then all of a sudden that's all as the kids are calling it these days.
Yeah. It appeared in June 2020.
Okay.
Yeah. The origins are unknown.
Okay.
Yeah, I like it. You know, I think Wiener is a better name. Weenie, if you want to have fun with it. I like Pup. Pup is one of my favorite hot dog videos.
Yeah, I think people just didn't want to like associate them with wieners so much, so they started calling them glizzies. And it backfired.
I don't want to see your penis
because now people are associating like wieners with glizzies.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have the reverse effect.
You're not going to get away from the look and the shape of the hot dog. So
it's part of the charm. It's part of the charm.
It really is.
The phallic diet, as we talk about.
Well, I can't say that they know, my brother. What a time.
One of the other things, every time we have had you on the show, is we talk about TV shows a little.
Yeah, I'm here for it. I will say, I work in the biz now. So I'm happy to talk about shows. I just won't. I'm not gonna dunk on any shows today. That's
no. We don't need to. We're not going to do any bashing.
I want one show dunked on.
We're not.
No, I can't. Like, I mean, I could.
Come on, dunk on one show.
Chubstep, dunk on Chubstep.
No,
the odds of somebody like listening to me dunking on a show and sending it to somebody important in the company and being like, fire this person are astronomical.
We'll pick one from a different company.
But
no, we're not going to dunk on it. We're not. Listen,
I'll praise shows from different companies.
Here's what.
I'm going to dunk on one.
Can I tell you? This is the opposite of dunking. Here's the ones that I'm sad are leaving. The ones that got canceled. That I enjoyed quite a bit. One is Reboot. Did you watch that show?
No, but I did want to. I heard good things. I was kind of surprised it got canceled that quickly.
I was surprised it got canceled too. It was a Hulu show. I enjoyed it. It was basically a show about a show from like the 80s that they're rebooting now. And it was just following these kind of actors that haven't done anything in a while. And they're all like, yeah, let's redo this show now. And it was a comedy. It was good. Oh. That was good. And then Avenue 5, I liked a lot.
That's interesting. Because before I started at my current job, I watched a couple episodes and didn't really care for it.
Yeah. Dunking on it.
No.
Dunking on it.
But I saw only some clips of season 2, but my coworkers who worked on it and also didn't care for it that much season 1. I heard season 2 was a massive improvement.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. It kind of ended on a note. I was like, oh, I kind of want to see what happens. Josh Gad's really good in that. There's a couple characters that are really good, and it's obviously made by the same people as Veep and stuff like that. So some good writing and stuff behind it. But I enjoyed that. I was sad that it was gone. But yeah, the problem is there's just so many shows out there. It's like people have to really love it to keep going.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's a ton. And I think that one seems like it kind of like got screwed by COVID a little bit because they were such a gap in between seasons. And for that's kind of like the norm now, which is annoying to me. But I think comedies are usually isn't. And so that one was like so far away from season one. It kind of I think it got reported that they had to let all the actors out of their contracts before it even came out because they were like, we can't hold them around for 4 years. Like, so that might have affected it.
And it's tough when you have a first season show and then that gap between the second season. It's like you try to get an audience. A lot of them have probably forgotten about it by the time the second season comes out and stuff like that. It'd be different. It was between second and third season. That'd be easier to get away with, I feel like.
Yeah. Loaded cast too. I love Zach Woods.
Yeah. So those were my two that just came to mind as kind of like shows that were fairly recent that recently got said that they were done. There's a couple seasons that are ending, but that's just kind of the end of like Maisel is ending after this season.
Yeah. Haven't started the new season yet. I'm excited though. There's a lot on right now. I feel like I'm watching lots of shows right now.
Yes. There's a ton of stuff on. Maisel's ending, and then Succession. This is the last season of that as well, correct?
Yeah.
All good shows. Just tough when it's like, at least they give you. It's much better to have a warning, like this is the last season, than like all of a sudden, like with Avenue 5, it was over, and then they didn't get renewed. That's a tougher scenario.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it's nice that like creators are kind of being empowered to end their shows now, like Barry's ending too. Whereas I feel like in once upon a time, maybe like 10 years ago, if something like Succession got this popular, maybe not because it's on HBO, but like there's a lot of shows where they'll hit like an ending point, the creators will leave because they're done with the show, and then they'll just keep it going.
Yes.
And I mean, even like I didn't watch the show, but I think the chief example of people refusing to let something go is Scrubs. Right? Like from what I've heard, they had like an incredible season finale that was supposed to be the end of the show, and then they're going to make a spin-off, but the network was like, no, just do another season of Scrubs. You can just do the spin-off as a season of Scrubs. And then like people just act like it doesn't exist.
Yeah. That's people. You're talking about basically ending on a high note versus dragging it out and trying to get a few more seasons in type of thing, right?
Yeah.
I agree. It seems to have been the theme recently. I think of like Schitt's Creek. A lot of people love that, and then they just were like, we could keep going, but we're just going to end it on a good note.
Especially for comedies, I feel like that's pretty rare.
Yes, I agree. So what have been some ones that you've really enjoyed recently, or ones that maybe people aren't on the lookout for, but they should be?
I want to give a shout out. This aired last year, but my favorite show of last year was a show on FX/Hulu. I don't remember what it originated, but Reservation Dogs. I don't know if you've heard of that. It's incredible. Like it's a dramedy, but way more on the comedy side about like Native Americans living in reservations in Oklahoma. It's great present day, so it's not like it's just like normal people. They're just living on the res. That one's great. Well, I'm trying to think what I'm currently watching right now. Anyone watch The Mandalorian? That's a crowd pleaser.
Oh yeah.
I
know shows.
I feel like a lot of people are like kind of hating on this season, and I have some gripes with the Book of Boba Fett existing. I'll dunk on this one because it's Disney, like they'll be fine. I don't get why they made the Book of Boba Fett if they were gonna put 2 episodes of The Mandalorian in the show when the show is only 7 episodes, and it kind of like it took away from The Mandalorian a little bit, because I'm sure there's plenty of people who didn't watch the Book of Boba Fett, booted up Mandalorian season 3, and they're like, wait a minute, like I thought all this stuff happened in the finale. Now everyone's just like back to normal. And so
I did that.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I was a little confused.
And I feel like people don't think the new season's that good, but like I feel like it's more or less the same. I enjoy it. It's basically just a video game. Like Mando getting tasks and doing the tasks and moving on.
I think they've done a really good job the Star Wars TV shows have done a really good job. I thought Andor was as good as anything I've
Andor's
seen.
great.
Yeah,
Andor's great.
Andor was phenomenal.
But yeah, me and Cedar are big Star Wars guys, and those shows are as good as any shows. And I don't think you even need to be like a massive Star Wars fan to really enjoy those, because they're just solid shows.
Yeah,
They don't shove like Jedi stuff down your throat. You don't have to worry about like how do they do force powers? You don't got to worry about the midichlorians. Okay.
Yeah, and in Andor, like you pretty much just need to know that, like, hey, the Empire takes over or the Empire already took
government.
over, right?
Yeah.
Government
Yeah,
bad, Andor
They're
good.
bad. Yeah, government bad. Yeah.
Andor was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for some of the stuff they have this year. I'm trying to remember what else. Do you guys watch The Last of Us? Homer take.
I enjoyed The
I
Last of
loved
Us.
it.
I did not.
I had never played the game. So I don't think it's on Xbox. I have an Xbox.
It's only on PlayStation.
Yeah, so I never played the game. But I did enjoy the show.
Nah, I got Gamecast. Gamecast? Well, there's GameCube and then there's Dreamcast. What you got? Well, I said I got Gamecast, man. Damn, I can't afford it.
Yeah, it's I played the game like a couple months before it came out. Just to get a feel for it, and it's pretty much the same, and it's great. Like, I think the show improves on mostly everything. And it's funny, like, because they obviously cut a lot of action, which is interesting. But it's definitely the right call, because like it's a lot easier to, think about these characters a different way when you're not murdering like 40 zombies and 20 people every 10 minutes. And I've been playing through the second game, which is a lot more violent. And I think like the plot of the game is driven by violence more than the first one is, where like the violence is kind of like secondary to the plot. So I'm really curious to see how they tackle it. I'm really excited. I can't wait for that to come back. Do you watch any Apple shows? Apple's kind of having a moment.
I watched, what was the one with Adam Scott where
Severance.
Severance. I liked that. I enjoyed that show.
Great.
I watched the morning show finally. I hadn't seen that. I enjoyed that quite a bit. Ted Lasso's new season, I think I'm caught up. I've watched a few of those ones.
Ted Lasso's great. If you like Ted Lasso, I watched Shrinking recently with
I heard good things.
Jason Segel, Harrison Ford. Yeah, it was really good. I think it's they're clearly setting that up to be their post Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso, just like feel wise, even though it's not about football. Even though it's not about football.
Yeah, it's fine.
I agree. We're in the States, like we call it soccer. It's silly, but that's the name. That's what we're gonna call it. But Shrinking's great, really good cast. It's actually written by the guy who plays Roy Kent in Ted Lasso, who's also a writer.
Okay, nice.
So that was one of his shows. I'm watching so much right now. I can't. Abbott Elementary's great on ABC.
I've heard good things. I haven't started it yet, but
really good, really easy watch. Haven't watched a network comedy in a while, so
it's
kind of nice to get back on.
Ones.
Clearly like takes a lot from The Office type of show, but puts its own spin on it. It's great. What are you watching? How do you like Mad Men? How far are you?
So Mad Men. So Lil Stevie, if you're watching this on YouTube, he is his background is Don Draper's office in Mad Men. One of his offices, because he actually switches offices a few times.
At Sterling Cooper, not at
Sterling Cooper. So I am on the last season right now. I enjoy it quite a bit. At first, I think the problem was Chubstep Amy first described it to me as Marvelous Miss Maisel, but not funny. And
why do my Amazon boxes keep saying that?
A Marvelous Miss Maisel?
I don't even know what it is.
It's a TV show. It's a TV show on Amazon.
I'm like, my boxes are pink and they say Marvelous Miss Mabel on them, and I'm like, what?
They're promoting. It's a Amazon Prime show. I enjoy it. Actually, Stevie was the one that introduced me to it. I've seen it all now.
It's a great show.
It is a great show. It's, as Lil Stevie described it, I remember you said this, it's way better than it should be. Like, just based on the concept of it, it's like the show is actually very good. It's about basically a stand-up comedian, a female stand-up comedian in the 50s.
Oh,
yeah. And so I actually had a Mad Men themed party the other day with some old coworkers, And so I had the Kennedy poster up. I had ashtrays all around with candy
I
cigarettes.
saw that picture.
Yes. Yeah. Candy cigarettes all over the place. Everybody's dressed up. And then we had 50s style food, 50, early, 50, 60 style food. So Jello mold. We had pineapple upside down cake, Salisbury steaks.
God, that sounds horrible.
Deviled eggs. All that kind of stuff.
You know what's going on here, don't you? Hand jobs.
Is that right? What percentage do you think?
It's good, and it doesn't really seem like it falls off. It's pretty consistent throughout the season.
Yeah, especially if you're at the end. I would say I think it peaks in 4 and 5 and falls off slightly, but not in any meaningful way.
Yeah,
it's my number 2 top show of all time. I think I'm a huge.
What's your number 1?
Number 1's The Wire. Number 3 is The Sopranos. But I have it's like this. I think
it's a tight sandwich.
Yeah, Mad Men and Sopranos, depending on the day, I could go one or the other. I think they're both phenomenal. And the writer of Mad Men was a writer on The Sopranos. Not the writer, but a writer. So we don't get Mad Men unless about The Sopranos.
There you go. Yeah, wow. So I did not know about that. And those would definitely be in my top 5 too. Lil Stevie.
I've never seen it.
For me, I have to separate Steve, you gotta watch this.
Then have cable.
I'll give you my login. My problem is that I have to kind of separate comedies, I think, from drama shows, because I think if I factor those
I do the same thing. Yeah.
Yes. If I factor those in, then I start putting for me, Nathan For You is probably one of the shows I've seen the most times. Just gotta love those skits, or I think you should leave it. Some of those shows are so funny and stuff like that, but I can't really compare them to a, The Wire or Sopranos or things like that, because it's just completely different type of show.
I agree. And my top comedy would probably be Arrested Development, but then it's the last 2 seasons of Arrested Development are, I like them, not nearly as good as the first couple. And so then it's should that affect the ranking? Because if we're talking dramas, it affects the ranking. I ding Game of Thrones a little bit. I wouldn't even put Dexter in my top 10 anymore because of how much that falls off. So I can't really rank them together either. And now it's Sopranos is kind of similar, but something like Succession, it's it's maybe the funniest show on TV, but it's not a comedy.
Yeah.
So how do I rank it? Because that's creeping up the list. I don't know. That'll probably get in my top at least 6 or 7.
So Stevie, why don't you give Steed a name of a show that we think he doesn't know what it's about, and then he tells us what he thinks it's about?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay. It's a great game. We can look up shows that are on things right now. Steve, I got one for you, Steve. This is a show I watched on Hulu called This Fool.
That's the name of it?
Yeah, This Fool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna assume that's about a grandpa raising his granddaughter, and he's an old fool.
Okay, a grandpa raising his granddaughter.
Yeah, but he's a fool because he doesn't know how to do it, and because he's old. And
he's old.
But the parents are dead, so they got to navigate that. And that's what it's about.
Okay, it's about a guy who works at a place that rehabilitates Mexican gang members, and his cousin gets out of jail, and he's also mentoring him in the program. It's a comedy, though.
Okay, I was close.
Yeah,
I got one.
Okay,
how about We Own This City?
We Own This City?
Yeah.
I mean, I want to say gangsters, but I'm not gonna say gangsters. I'm gonna say a fish market. Fishmongers.
I would say gangsters is probably closer. It's about
yeah.
extremely corrupt cops in Baltimore, based on a true story.
It's very good. It's very similar to The Wire. If people like The Wire,
very good. Jared, actually went to I got to work the red carpet for that show. It's one of the ones I've worked, and not these weren't like huge name actors in the show, but it's like the entire cast of The Wire. So like
Yes.
I'm seeing like Trey Chaney, who plays Poot from The Wire, like walking down the red carpet. I'm like, that's Poot. Like, oh my god. Like trying to keep it cool. It was great.
Since we are talking about The Wire, I gotta shout out Chubstep Mike, the biggest Wire fan there is.
Is that the time we kept saying that, and then we had him on the show, and he's like, I've never seen The Wire. But for some reason,
we were talking about The Wire like 3 years ago, and then he listened to the episode, and he's like, I have never seen The Wire, but we kept saying like, oh, he's the biggest Wire guy out there.
No. And R.I.P. to Wire legend Lance Riddick recently passed away.
I know, man.
That was it. Also, he's great on the Eric Andre show.
Yeah, the best Eric Andre show guest, like by far, I think.
Oh yeah. If you have not seen that, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right, let's give him one more, Stevie. What's it? Can you think of another show?
How about this one? I watched this recently. Fleischman is in trouble.
Well, it would seem that there's a Jewish guy and he's got some gambling debt.
Not that far off.
Is he a lawyer?
Marital problems. He's a doctor.
I'm half right. Oh man, that's tough.
No, yeah, you were correct in him being Jewish is a big part of the show. So
well,
I will give it to you too.
You come in hot with Fleischman.
Yeah. Nice. Well, perfect. So Lil Stevie, is there anything else you wanted to get to? We don't want to keep you too long.
No, so I actually got a question, and I wonder if anyone has an answer to this. So I was in LA last weekend. Long story short, I met up with my current podcast host Johnny for the first time, and
Ramstock.
Ramstock Radio. We got a little too drunk. Long story short, I left my phone in an Uber and lost it. And so it was in lost mode for like 3 days. The Uber driver said they didn't have it, so I like gave up. I ordered a new phone. And then last night after another show I watched, Beef on Netflix. It's great. High recommend. Okay. I was watching that. I finished the episode. I pick up my phone and it says my phone was found, and the guy called me like 3 minutes ago, and I missed the call. And so I tried calling back like 8 times, but my phone's not working. He must have turned it off like pretty quickly after they found the phone, and now it's been off, and I put it back in lost mode. And I made the note like, please call me again, but I don't know what to do. Like now I have the new phone, and so I need to set up the new phone. But like if I set up the new phone, is it going to deactivate the old one? And like I don't really need to get it back, but I would kind of like to get like my pictures and stuff. So I don't know when they were last backed up. But I don't know how to get the phone. I don't know how to reach him.
You got to go back to LA with a gun, because they're not allowed to have guns in California, right? So just like the show, we own this city. You could own that city. You take over the city, the underground Uber phone smuggling ring. You got to infiltrate it, so you become an Uber driver.
Oh,
it's going to be a 6-month process, but you're going to get that phone back.
There we
Just
go.
All the wrong lessons from We Own This City.
I haven't seen the show. I thought it was like a good come up story.
Quite the opposite.
Yeah, very much the opposite.
Yeah. Well, it's a good, I like Steve's idea of becoming an Uber driver in the city and kind of getting to know your way around and know the guy that, basically stole from you. Somebody found your phone, called, and then was like, oh, I made an effort, now I'm going to keep the phone type of thing. Is that what it seems like?
I don't know. And so it was gone for like 3 days. And so like they found it and called, which makes you think like, A, there's no way this is like this person found the phone on day one and stole it. Like they must have found it later on. But B, like I think it's at a certain location now. It doesn't look like it's a house. Like it looks like it's like either an apartment complex or like a shopping plaza. I can't really tell. But yeah, I just like, again, like I moved on. I got a new phone, but I kind of would like it back if they have it. But if I activate the new phone, then I don't know if I could reach the old phone.
Yeah, it's there's a crazy story about me finding my phone, Stevie. If you want to hear, this is I'm going to find this episode because this is It's episode 208 of Chubstep for people that have not heard this episode. I had a crazy story where how I found my phone that was lost in a cab. Like the one time I took a cab and the phone slips out of my pocket. But similar sort of thing where I ended up tracking this down in Milwaukee. So
wow.
I found the rough location. I was able to, but it's kind of a crazy thing how it happens. But I think if the rough location, you got to get your buddy in LA and he has to track it down for you, pay him a finder's fee.
Yeah. You send him out there.
Does it look like it's in a bad neighborhood? That's the question. You got to find out.
I don't think so. It doesn't. I was staying in West Hollywood, and it doesn't seem like it's that far from my location. So it should be fine. But yeah, we'll see.
I got Bryn Flakes out there. Maybe I'll send my buddy Bryn Flakes.
Yeah, just send him to do a little quick scouting mission. Check the vibe out of the place.
So Stevie, this reminds me of I talked to this guy who was he worked for Enterprise Rent-A-Car, and he talked about how he worked at one kind of west side of Chicago, and they would get their car stolen all the time. Like he just said constantly, like they would they couldn't track it very well. Like basically it was cheaper if they just stole it. They just called insurance, they got a new car type of thing. But he said for a little bit, they would want people to he said the employees, they'd ask them to they knew the person's address that rented the car. So they'd want them to go and scout the house and try to take the car back with their extra set of keys. And the guy's like, I'm getting paid not enough to break into some guy's house,
that's wild.
To the driveway and use the keys to get this car. This guy's, crazy enough to steal the car. I don't want to go to his house.
You got to give a bonus. I would have done it for $1,000 bonus.
But he said they were sitting out there and they saw the car and he's like, I am not getting paid enough to do this.
No, I mean, if you want to drive by the location and confirm it's there, but yeah, you're not. That's crazy.
Yes. He said people would also change out the tires on the car, or they would change out parts on the car.
Oh my gosh.
Or
wow.
He said he would see one time he drove back from work and he saw the exact car that he rented out. The guy was just going down the highway, as fat, going in the passing, the non-passing, the lanes on the side for when you're stopped. Yeah, the shoulder. Yeah, he's just driving along the shoulder. That's one of the cars he rented earlier. But I think if you have that kind of will where you're fine tracking it down, I think you pay your buddy tell him the finder's fee, tell him and if he's a good friend, he'll do it.
Yeah.
Tell him you'll cancel the podcast and you get somebody else to talk Rams if he doesn't do it.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm gonna look into it. I'm not gonna kick him off the pod either way.
Okay.
But
yeah, probably a good idea. Probably unnecessary.
Yeah, he's a great co-host, great guy. But yeah, I mean, hopefully they just call me back.
Yes. And if people want to check out Rams Talk, where do they do that, Stevie?
Anywhere you get your podcast, Rams Talk Radio.
About the LA Rams. Little Stevie, number one fan, number one commentator in my book.
Thank you.
Me too.
I appreciate it.
Perfect. Well, thank you for coming on, Stevie. It's always great to have you on.
Yeah,
thank you, fellas.
Great hot dog ranking.
Loved it. Love a good hot dog.
Absolutely loved it.
Perfect. And the show has ended. Be gone.
Now you know you got to go.
Peace. This is Yasin.